Hi, I want to give a quick tutorial or helper lesson on using Eclipse to implement the class point, which represents a point on a two-dimensional plane. Each point has an x and y coordinate, has the getX, getY method distance that determines the distance to another point, and a toString. I'll also be implementing the hash code and the dot equals method for this class. So let's switch to Eclipse. We go to create a new class. We name it point. And then we take a look and say, I'm just going to paste point represents a point in a two-dimensional plane. You can see that checkstyle is nagging me that my first comment does not end with a period, so I need to have a private double x member variable, private double y member variable. So I now have the member variables, so I need to generate getters and setters for these variables. So I right mouse click, go to source, and go down here and it says generate getters and setters. Click on that, and then I select the member variables I want to generate. So I'm going to actually generate for both. I could select all. Make sure generate comments is selected so that it generates java.comments for me. Return. It's the x value. Value to set, turn the y value to set, and I save it, and checkstyle is happy. So I have automatically generated my getX, my getY, I have a setX, setY. We need to create a constructor. Public point y, this dot x equals the passed in value, this dot y equals y. But I don't have any Java docs, so I can again right mouse click, source, generate element comment. I would say you definitely want to remember the key bindings for these. On the Mac, it's the option propeller J. So now I just say create a point at the given coordinates. X coordinate, Y coordinate. Cannot spell. Now I want to, this code does not follow the coding style because I need spaces between, two spaces between the methods. So again, I can right mouse click, source, format, and it will automatically format the code to match the coding style. I need to add a distance method, double distance point other, and again want to notice I do not have a return type, I have no return method. I can simply fix the problem by selecting add a return statement. I'll temporarily pick x as my return value, even though I know that's wrong. Go to the end. Now I want to insert the Java doc again. Source, generate element comment. Return the distance between this point and other. Okay, so now how do we calculate that? The formula is x squared minus x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared, and take the square root of that. So double distance equals math dot square root of math dot power, and this would be x minus other dot x, and the power is 2. So I now have x minus x1 minus x2 squared plus math dot pow of y minus other dot y squared. And then I just want to return distance. So I have my distance method. Now I need my toString method. Well, happily, Eclipse has a generate toString method. And it asks you which fields you want to include. So I want to include the x field and the y field. Press OK. Again, make sure generate comments is selected. Now this is not the format that the assignment asks for, so I'll just change this to be the format that the assignment asks for. Don't need the x either. Open comma, y, close paren. Now, there's no space here, so I'm going to leave it in just because I like that better, but to do the assignment, you should follow it. And now to make the class more complete, we want to have a dot equals method. So again, Eclipse allows us to generate a hash code and dot equals. We choose what member variables we want to consider in the method and say OK. Save it, and we'll see that check style complains about 32 because it's a magic number. Well, too bad for that. But it does complain about the if construct must have curly braces. So go in here, one fix, add braces, move down. I can do command 1, add braces, command 1, add braces, save, and check style is no longer complaining about that method. I'm going to ignore these two in the check style. Now if we look over here, we see that our methods are all sort of jumbled together. So one way to organize our methods is to, again, right mouse click source, and we can sort our members. It will sort them basically constructors and then alphabetically. You can see it resorts the members, moves them around. So now we have distance, then equals, and gets, and then hash code, then sets. And finally toString. So now we have our class, we're done. Now we want to test this class to see if our math is correct for the distance. So in Eclipse, you choose to create a new JUnit case. It gives you a name. It knows that we're testing the class because that's the buffer that was selected. So I say next, and then I have the opportunity to test different methods in the class. So I would definitely want to test the constructor, distance, and I guess we'll set the get x and y, and that's good enough for now. We could test the equals. I believe it will work. Hit finish. We see that checkstyle doesn't like it when we use the asterisk for insertion. So I'm just gonna go here and delete that whole thing. And then now I have this error for fail. I can import the specific class I need versus everything. You don't want to over import because you're getting extra stuff you just don't need. So now I've fixed that error. Doesn't like me not having period, so saved. Now this is for testing the constructor. It will fail if I run this as a JUnit test. We'll switch to the JUnit thing, and we can see that all of the test methods have failed. So let's get rid of this. Sorry. That. So how will we test the constructor? So we make a new point. Point P equals new point. And where should we put it? We'll put it at 1, 2. So now we've created our new point. Let's see if the point exists. Not null P. So that's a call to the test case. Assert that the object is not null. And we should probably test to see if the x value is actually 1. Assert equals 1.0 and p dot get x. Again, we need to import the assert equals. And they're saying we should not do that. We should change the way we do that. Let's see. Let's change that to assert true, include the insert true. Now we need to make a Boolean, so let's say 1.0 minus get x absolute value is less than 0.000001. Again, because of doubles, we might have a rounding error at the very least significant. So we're saying that that basically means the error, if there's a rounding error, it's less than a small number. So let's rerun the test cases. Save the class. And now our test point has passed. Checkstyle is complaining that that's a magic number. Okay, let's make it happy. Static float. It's actually a double. Four, 5, 1. And okay, so now we want to test our distance. So how would we test our distance? We need to create 2 points. Point 1, P1, new point. Let's put it at the origin, because that's a nice, easy place. P2. Let's put it at 0, 2, because we know the distance quite trivially. So now we can say assert true P1 dot distance to P2 minus 2.0 is less than error. And then I can use completion. I thought I could use completion. Save it, run it, and we see that test distance has passed. So now, if we wanted to be more thorough, we might even do things like assert true P1 dot, let's take P2 dot distance to P2 is equal to 0.0. Distance to yourself is 0. Save it, run it. Still passes, great. Get X, well, we did actually test that right here. So let's copy and paste that. Now let's say P dot set X to 8.9, magic number, 1.0, 2.0, copy this, oops. Change this, rerun, and now our getX passes. So let's go here. And change these X's to Y's. And this needs to be a 2 because we're at 2. Let's make this a 5. Save it, rerun it, and we have an error. So where'd we fail? Oh, it's because we set X and we get Y, so we need to set Y. Rerun it, passes, we're done. Now let's test equals. So we make the test annotation, public void test, just for fun, takes no parameters. Do the Javadoc, oops, wrong one, Javadoc test method for dot equals. Point dot equals. Let's go get our 2 points. Now assert false P1 dot equals P2. That should be false. We need to import assert false, save it, rerun our tests, and you can see the test equals correctly said that P1 is not equal to P2. Assert true P2 dot equals P2. Save it, rerun the tests, and it still solves. So we've tested the equals method, and again, checkstyle is complaining about my 5.0 being a magic number, and I don't care. So notice that we now no longer have the fail, so we have an unused import. So I can remove it. And I also do not have the equals, so I'll remove my unused import. Save the file. Checkstyle is happy, except for my magic number. And at this point, I don't care about checkstyle. So I now have a good test of the point class that tests .equals and the important methods. Thank you very much for your time.